All right, I'll call the June 12th, 2024 meeting of the Fire Station Building Committee to order. We're meeting in room 120 at Town Hall, and we are also available by Zoom. I'll take roll call attendance. We do have one member of the committee who's remote, Aaron Hunt.
Here.
Keith Kinney.
Present.
Chelsea Yanosik here. Chris Baker here. Lindmark here. Kevin Champagne here. All right, first item is public comment. Anybody with any comment? No one raising their hand. Donna shaking her head no. So we'll go right to OPM report then, Steve. Turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Good evening, everyone. So just moving some things on my screen here. So OPM report for June 12th. As usual, I'll start off with progress since our last meeting, which was on May 8th. Installation of MEPFB rough-ins and finishes ongoing throughout. Just checking, you can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Plumbing fixture installations ongoing. Permanent power, although we thought it was installed, it is now being installed with the meter a week from this Thursday. Sheetrock taping has been ongoing on the first floor. Painting of the interior and exterior has been ongoing. Exterior has been weather permitting. Ceiling grid installation is ongoing, and some tiles have gone in, but not too many because we still have to do the above ceiling inspection. Epoxy flooring prep has started in the app bay. Millwork and casework has been ongoing. Siding is complete. Roofing, sheet metal, gutter, and downspouts are ongoing. Lightning protection was installed, but there are a couple of issues with it, so some rework has to be done. Site work, drainage, curbing, and binder has been installed. They are prepping furiously for the above ceiling punch list. Station alerting system rough installation has been ongoing. The audiovisual rough installations has started. The town supplied data racks were installed in both the MDF and the IDF room, and fiber, Comcast, and Verizon the lines have been pulled into the MDF room. Photo documentation for the month. Again, first couple of photos are from Andy Bakanowski for the aerial drone shots. This particular one was taken on May 19th, which is the front of the building, showing well the apparatus bay doors. This is a west aerial photo, which we're actually facing east. We're sort of going around the building. This is the east aerial facing west with the existing station on the right. You can see where they've done the rear apron, rear curbing, binder. The roofing is well on its way. They've got the snow guards installed. A lot of the painting has been done. This is a little farther back, sort of southeast aerial view. Again, showing this was obviously a rainy day, but showing the roof, the overall structure with the existing station on the lower right. This is a ground view photo, a little bit more recent. This is the 5th of June. You can see much more painting has been done across the front. You're actually getting to see what the colors are going to look like. This is the view of the east side with the one-story training room here in the foreground. This is a view of the west elevation. This is the stair to the training stair. And You've got your difference in paint colors from the white to the gray towards the rear. This is a view of the south elevation from the west side, showing all your HVAC condensing units on the pad and back of the building. And this is sort of a reverse view of the south elevation, just on the east side with the two ambulance bay openings in the back of the building. Just a little bit farther back, showing the south elevation and the east elevation, this is the back of the one-story training room. As we go into the interior, it's a view of the kitchen casework and cabinetry that's being installed. This is your kitchen, and your dining area is to the far left. Sort of a reverse view showing the front of the island. And then the cabinets along the wall, which will obviously have doors and appliances installed in the openings. It's a view of the day room progress. At this point, the trim has been installed, and the accent color paint has started. A lot of some of the ceiling grid is up, as you can see at the upper left. And that is the doorway to the training stair, or stair 2, on the west side of the building. This is a reverse view, again, looking from the training stair back towards the dining and kitchen area. And that's that wall between the day room and the dining room. That will have the TV screen on it. It's just a view of casework in one of the other office areas. View of a typical door, just to give you an idea what the grain and the staining color look like. This is AHU number 1. That's located up on the second floor mechanical room. This came in, I believe, 9 separate pieces and was assembled within the room. And this is AHU number 3 that's set up on the steel in the apparatus bay. Both those units are fairly large air handling units. I believe my last photo here is the view of the 350 kilowatt Kohler emergency generator that was delivered at the end of May. Any questions on progress?
Just one, Steve, and I messaged you about this before the meeting. I think I was going to bring it up to the rest of the committee, but I was thinking we could have a building tour now that they're kind of wrapping things up. And it sounded like, I mean, our next committee meeting is July 10th. Could possibly do it before that meeting if you think that's a good day. Steve, what's the actual move-in day?
Well, furniture is going to start getting moved in on the 8th of that week. So,
yeah,
right now I've sort of got, and I've got a slide for it. Sort of looking at the move-in the week of I believe it's the 15th of July, giving the furniture people, the week of the 8th to get everything well, we should have everything delivered and stored on site. So when they come in on the 8th, they're just setting up and distributing the furniture throughout the building. So that's probably 3 days, but giving them the week.
Okay. So the 10th, I mean, the building should be more or less wrapped up.
I think the 10th would be a good day. We could meet, 4:30, 5 o'clock. Maybe 4:30 would be better. Give an hour, 4:30 to 5:30 to go through the building, and then move on up to the town hall for the meeting. If that works for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the past we've shown up at 5. I don't know if people, I mean, there's probably more to look at now if people want a little more time. So maybe we say 4:30.
Yeah.
So
we could do 5 o'clock. We just have to, hustle a little bit going through it. But
we'll say we'll say arrive between 4:30 and 4:45.
Okay.
Does that work for anyone that does want to see the building? No, so. All right, so
I'll make it
we'll
work.
plan on. What's that, Aaron?
I'll make it work.
Okay. So we'll plan on that, Steve. I'll send you an email after the meeting, just confirming it, but.
Yep, no, that's fine. I've sort of jotted it down on my calendar, so I'll be there I'll just stay there that day after the job meetings, and we can go through.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions from anybody on progress before he moves on? All right, back to you, Steve.
Okay, so schedule look ahead. I mean, as much as his work is done, there's still a lot to do to get to the point of moving in. And you know, I've got a number of different things here. It's not all inclusive, but they got to get the gutters and downspouts installed. They've got to get the motors on for the operating for the overhead doors. Complete the interior taping on the first. Complete interior and exterior painting. Install flooring, including the epoxy in the app bay. They have started epoxy flooring in some of the first floor rooms now, but the app bay has still got a lot of materials in it. Install storefront aluminum doors. We'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. Complete ceiling grid, start the tiles, complete the millwork casework, install your building specialties like your fire extinguishers and cabinets and toilet accessories. Complete the MEP, FP rough-ins and first floor, and actually I should say finish the finishes also. Wire and load test the generator, rework the lightning protection like I mentioned, set up all the HVAC equipment, do the testing and balancing and the commissioning. We've been having bi-weekly commissioning meetings with WSP as our commissioning agent. They're ready to go whenever the equipment is ready. The holdup has been that we don't have the meter on with the permanent power. So again, that will all kick off next Thursday. Weather and emergency issues pending. We want to complete the switchgear and connect to permanent power. Like I said, elevator, we want to energize it and get the state inspection. Continue any further site work to button up the outside of the building. Then activate the data, fiber, telephone, and cable services, and complete the Zetron and the AV installations. So other issues at this point, Castagna through payment 15, which is to be submitted for the month of May, they're roughly 76% done, complete with the entire project. The schedule, so we're looking at substantial completion tentatively for the 5th of July. The long lead items that we had, the generator was delivered on the 28th. The 2 air handling units, that one and number 3, were delivered on the 16th. The storefront aluminum doors, they still don't have a date on that. They've got everything prepped for it. They're waiting to get the delivery date from the subcontractor and the subcontractor, and ultimately from Conair, who was the manufacturer. So we tried to see if we could get that date for this meeting, but they still did not have it. So that incorporates virtually all of the outside doors, personnel doors. We had a meeting with the furniture company. Right now we have the furniture installation starting on the 8th, with delivery of furniture prior to that. And Castagna will make some space for, they've got it palletized, boxed, and shrink wrapped to get the furniture on site. Again, the FD move-in, I got it approximately the 15th of July, and then final completion of the project, inclusive of phase 2, barring any issues, is still right now on the end of October. FF&E, So sort of a recap on our FF&E. Some of it's still in pricing. Some we have purchase orders. We qualify this. This was the FF&E budget amount of $300,000. We're right now at 309,192. That 9,192 will be covered by the soft cost contingency and or any of the other line items that come in below what we have budgeted. So even though it looks like it's over budget, that's just one particular line item. But it shows all the FF&E that we've been dealing with for the project, inclusive of the Genie lift I have in here. There's an SCBA washer that the chief wants to purchase. We've got EMS tracking cabinet, which we have. Radio equipment. I think the chief is gonna go over that a little bit, but that's sort of a new item. It doesn't require any kind of utility work from the contractor. It's basically a plug-in type of unit. And if you recall, we did take any kind of radio equipment out of the budget originally as a cost-saving measure. I think at one time we were I can't quite remember what we had carried, but we did take that out.
It's 50,000. It was 50,000.
Was it 50? Okay, so what's coming back is less.
Actually, it was 100, right?
I thought it was 100, but I didn't want to say that
It was 100,000, so we had taken that out. We had that, kind of as a line item budget.
So I think again, I'll get to the next slide. Our budget's in good shape. We did issue.
Sorry, Steve, just on the previous slide. So anything that says pricing after it is not a firm number. It's something that you're getting pricing on, right? The only firm ones are the ones that say PO issued or.
Correct. Well, actually, the EMS tracking cabinet, we do have that. That's finalized. That 25,009 is a final number. But the toolboxes, radio equipment, the SCBA washer, kitchenwares, the fitness equipment, we're probably going to be below that. We pretty much finalized that today. So that'll be solidified. And then the task chairs, that should also come in below that 12,000. We just don't have the final PO issued yet.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think I'm heavy on this 309, but I'd rather be conservative than optimistic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So we did issue our Castagna change order number 4, which had quite a few PCOs in it, many of them that we had gone over at previous meetings. So the total came out to be $40,284.69. There were some credits in there, including utility use back charge from January to March. This is for power bills that are coming into the town, but it's for their use. So we've been tracking those with a meter, and we'll have some more once they get to the end of the project. There are still some pending change orders, some things that have come in, which I'm carrying in our potential line item in our forecasted. So the change order update right now, adding in change order 4, we've got total change orders to date of 157,570.16, which is pretty good for a project of this size. The construction contingency was $1,850,850. That should say change orders 1 through 4 at the 157,570. And then I've got potential PCOs, items that are submitted and items that are forecast through phase 2, which include potential ledge and asbestos issues at 645, 814. So our remaining contingency is 205,465, which is about 20% remaining of our construction contingency. Our overall contingencies, so we got a construction contingency, we've got 205,465 remaining. Our soft cost contingency, It went from 212,985. We're at 96,673, so it's 45% remaining. And then the owner contingency, we haven't touched at all, which is still at 100% at 301,470. So the total contingency remaining is $603,608. And again, this is a number that, you know, I'm plugging in things that may not happen. So again, sort of looking at the potential worst case.
Yeah, the 205 is a absolute worst case. It's probably going to be more than that.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. There's some things in there that may go away, but I'm carrying them now because they've been submitted. Or, like I said, phase 2 is estimated potential, you know, if the entire site ends up being ledge where we have to do the drainage basin. I've got a number carried for that of, I think, about $100,000. So it's ideally my goal is to have that 603 be much higher at the end of the job, but you know, we all discussed, you know, sort of looking at it from the worst case, the pessimist side, which is always a good way of doing it. And then you know, we're at least able to look at some things that we can put back into the project, but we can't buy the chief a new fire truck. So, and that's all I have.
The taxpayers in town will be happy if we get back more than 603,000. That'd be nice. You know,
Yeah.
I had a number in my brain, you know, just anticipating, like, let's try to make sure we can get back $500,000, and we're doing better than that. I want to continue that.
We just bought a new fire engine for the town of Norfolk and a new tanker truck, thanks to me.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, thanks, Steve. Did anybody have any questions on the OPM
Okay.
report?
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
All right, I think that was our only discussion item. I don't know if anybody has anything else. Otherwise, we'll move to action items. Not seeing anyone jumping in. So our first action item is dedication plaque final layout approval. So Ron, am I turning that over to you?
Yes. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So basically what we have is exactly what we talked about last time. We've adjusted all the names. So we've got the insignias, the patches up in the corners, we've got the town seal in the middle. Just kind of going through this quick. We've got select board members listed. CC is 2022. And then we've got the fire department, the local 4134, the chief, Jack, Mike, and then we've got some retired leaders of the fire department. We have special thanks to Donna Jones, Andy, Doug Barletta, and Norfolk Community TV. On the town side, we have the building committee with Kevin, Aaron, Chris, Justin Casanova Davis, Todd, the chief, John Kent from 2022, and Blythe Robinson from 2022. Then we've got the departments. We've got Matt, the facilities director. We've got Matt, the former facilities director. Bob Bullitt, building commissioner. Blair Crane, Richard McCarthy, Ton, the Norfolk Planning Board, Zoning Board, Building Department, and the Department of Public Works. And then we have Vertex, ourselves, Castagna, and the note that all of this has been made possible by the taxpayers of Norfolk, Massachusetts. So that's pretty much what we had talked about. What do y'all think?
I think it looks good. Is it possible? Can we distribute it one last time before it's official, just to check spelling and all that sort of stuff, and then officially ratify it next meeting on the 10th?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. Anything initially that anybody sees missing or wants to add? Otherwise, Ron, if you want to email it to me, I'll send it out to everyone.
Will do. But if you want to vote, just to say that pending any spelling errors.
Sure.
That it looks good. Then once we get everything verified, we can send it off to the contractor. They can go have this thing made.
Can,
So the vote would be something like, you know, pending final approval of spell check, the dedication plaque. We're gonna go forward with having the contractor make it.
I guess what I was at, so if I distribute that and people get back to me by the next meeting on the 10th, is that too late to have it made? So
No.
could we just do the official vote on the 10th then?
Sure.
Do you need it? I'm asking honestly, do you need it today? I mean,
Well, the thing is I don't know how long this is gonna take to make. I do know that Castagna's probably gonna wanna be leaving the site sometime in September, late September, early October.
Okay.
We're into June. If we wait till July, that's gonna basically give them a month to make this thing.
okay,
And every school in the Commonwealth is gonna be trying to open at that time. So I always think like, you know, the sooner the better would be great,
okay.
but it's up to you. I don't wanna,
Then,
it's not gonna be an issue. You're on mute, Steve.
I mean, it can always go in later. Obviously, you want it in before you do your, grand opening ribbon cutting, whatever. You're gonna obviously be in that building before you have that ceremony, but that would be something that you'd want to have in the lobby. And they're not off the shelf, so there is a lead time.
Just like they did with the Freeman Kennedy School in September of 12. It's been 12 years in September.
so,
With the ribbon cutting ceremony, that's what I mean. They did one for the Freeman Kennedy School when they opened it.
what does everybody think? You guys want to vote on it tonight or? I mean, it seems pretty low risk.
Yeah.
So, all right, so yeah, we'll vote on it tonight, Ron. If you can send it to me, I'll just send it out to everybody for one last review. And
Okay.
then we'll get you something back before the next meeting.
That's perfect.
All right, so I'll ask for a motion to approve the dedication plaque as shown pending final review and spell check prior to the next meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we'll take a roll call vote. Aaron Hunt,
Aye.
Steve Kinney,
Yes.
Christina Nosik,
Yes.
Chris Baker,
Yes.
Todd Lindmark,
Yes.
Kevin Champagne, yes. Thanks, Ron.
Yep.
And then the only other item is approval of meeting minutes. We have minutes.
Yeah, the minutes. Oh yeah, I can sign those. Yep, I reviewed the April 10th meeting minutes and had no comments or edits. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So this is April 10th meeting minutes, you said?
It is.
Okay. All right, I'll take a roll call vote. Aaron Hunt,
Aye.
Chief Kinney,
Yes.
Justin Musick,
Yes.
Chris Baker,
Yes.
Todd Lindmark, Kevin Champagne, yes. All right. Any other items to discuss?
So I just wanted to give, or just give a quick synopsis of it. You saw that 20,000 number. So I have a quote. I submitted it to Steve today from AT&T FirstNet, which is obviously some of, well, he knows what it is, but some of you may, but FirstNet is a dedicated band of cellular network just to fire departments and police departments, public safety. I have been attempting to get a radio over IP gateway so that we have a redundant backup. in the cases when our repeaters fail, which has happened to us a few times from lightning and whatnot, it allows the radio network to be broadcast or done through over cellular, over internet. And the gateway that we're looking to get has 8 ports. To start, we would use 4, the 4 ports, one being dedicated for DPW, one for police, one for us as a fire department. And then we'd have one port as an auxiliary port to be able to either expand in the, well, actually, to start with, we would just use that for scanning mutual aid frequencies. This is kind of the wave of the future. They have finally released and have a stable, what they call mission critical push to talk system. And I've been wanting to get us on to have that backup. And that was, originally what I had in there. I got the quote, we have some discounts and incentives they threw our way in that quote. So I was hoping to get that implemented and done with the build of a new station. It benefits the whole town. Is something that I talked to Blair about. I talked to Chief Hines about. I mean, all they would have to do then is just provision their own devices to be on the network. But as far as the backbone and infrastructure would all be housed there. And I can't think of a better, we got the newest facility. It'll have all of the, the backup for the internet, but it has backup for power, everything else. So it really provides us with that stable kind of last, redundancy built into the system. And that's the beauty of FirstNet, with it being based off FirstNet. Even if everything fails in town, I just make a request. FirstNet drives a mobile unit in here and they set up and we have coverage. That's a part of, what they offer. So I just wanted to bring that into the town. I had been exploring it even when I was in Sherburne because, with nor'easters and things up here, you got to have something. You got to have multiple ways.
Sure.
So that was just something I wanted to do. The other thing that it does that we currently don't have the capability to do is it bridges the gap between police, fire, and DPW. DPW is currently on what's called the DMR network, which isn't land mobile, which is what police and fire own. And this system will allow us to, in essence, talk to each other, where right now our radios can't communicate together. This will allow us to do that, either via the MDTs in the cars, in the vehicles, or the cell phones, or we have some radios right now that we're working on being provisioned to allow that as well. Because our new radios beyond the grant, there is FirstNet capability embedded in them. We don't have them provisioned, but obviously there's no reason to have it provisioned if we don't have this in place first. So that's another thing this would do is kind of eliminates the need for a PDA in any town building, because I will be able to flip to a cellular network and talk and have full coverage. So it kind of is another way to go about, like the PDA is like 40 or 50 grand, in essence accomplish something similar, but that is a benefit not just to that one building or that one location. It benefits the entire town and community, so that's what that is. And, once we got to this point, I started digging and getting hard numbers. There is other components that have to go with it. That's why it's up at around 20,000. The actual gateway and all of that, and all the provisioning and servicing from FirstNet is actually lower than 20,000. But I have to get 4 slave radios. I have to have a slave radio for each port, so I have to pay for those. Those all have to be licensed and provisioned by the manufacturer to access onto FirstNet's network. So all of those back end things that, they start talking alphabet soup, I understand it, but that all has to be in place. So that's the totality of it is that $20,000 range, and that covers everything. Originally I was going to just be like, all right, we'll only activate 2 ports. I'll do fire, but I was like, this is a whole town benefit. It doesn't make sense to not the smallest one they make is 4 ports, so it doesn't make sense not to activate them and have this be usable by police and DPW. And I was gonna be like, well, I'll have them pay for their own, and like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, the EMA or the emergency management umbrella is under under me and Ed Nolan. Ed Nolan reports to me, so it just makes sense to cover it all, because it just makes sense, and it's not a huge expense.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it fits in the FFE
Yeah.
budget and.
Yeah,
You know.
and the numbers that are, it's 21,385, but we have a pending credit on the BDA, which I have not incorporated into the budget. That pending credit is 42,559. So, you know, if we don't need the BDA, we're actually crediting the project $21,000 and still getting this. So it's a pretty good deal.
Great. Any questions on that or anything else that anyone wants to bring up?
Do have another one. I don't know. Well, we have, so this long story short, you all are all aware, we're having our asylum seekers, migrants moved into town. Prior to that, the state cut our earmark, which was supposed to fund our repeater project, or partially fund it. Obviously, that repeater project directly wires or links into the building. And we are, right now, we got the invoice and we're short $18,447.77. So I wanted to talk to the group about possibly seeing that the building project can take up that shortfall, because there is a component that links directly to the building. Obviously, it's our primary means of dispatch. It's another radio infrastructure component, like that is obviously pretty important. So that's a viable option, and I want to possibly discuss, you know, if the building committee would be willing to look into that or explore that. Or otherwise, you know, I'll just have to wait till November to get more funding approved to take care of it. But, you know, the company, Allcom's aware, obviously they're doing a lot of business with us right now anyway, but they're aware. So it's just a matter of begging and pleading for them not to whack us too hard penalties. But this is where that really hurt, because all of our budgets are very tight and transparent at this point. And, you know, I've been racking my brain all day when I got the invoice, like, how am I gonna figure out, or where can I go to pull this? So I talked to Todd, and you know, going with his guidance to bring it up here and to discuss it. But it was originally budgeted for as a separate project of 190,000. 45,000 or 90,000 of that was supposed to be, 45,000 that was supposed to be coming by way of earmark. Well, that got cut in half. So the project ended up costing us less than the 190. It came in at 186 and some change. So the shortfall isn't 22.5, it's 18,447.77. That's the exact number. But it would require you all's approval to be able to take on that expense as a part of this project, rather than it, or just that portion of it. The rest of it will be paid for as, you know, as a separate project. So it's just.
Yeah, I mean, can we, so it's needed for the new building.
Yeah, it's already done. The work's already done. Like, the work's already done. It incorporates into the new building, like everything timed kind of good. That was the reason we earmarked and looked at the project at around the same time this was going to be complete. They just finished, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was all of the antennas, wiring, links that come from here direct, and linking those 2 towers together with new repeaters. So if it's, you know, again, it's not a rush. It's not a, you know, But I did want to discuss it and see if there was a way, a path forward this way. Because my thing was, just to my 2 cents, my thought was, regardless, the taxpayers are going to be taking on this burden regardless.
Right.
Whether it's doing it now through this project or me coming back and saying, hey, I need that number to cover what the shortfall was. I think if I was to bring it up in public forum right now, people might be going to the state house with pitchforks and everything else, but that is, it's a truth. It's one of the impacts. And
Aaron, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, two questions. One on the BDA. What are the chances that we swap out this new equipment for the BDA and then we get up and operational and we're like, oh, well, you know what? We really need the BDA.
none. There's no chance of that because I've already done testing throughout the building as it sits today with doors, with windows, with everything in place. And we didn't even have areas that were choppy. And that's with nothing. The radios that are going in the building are already there yet, but that's going to make it even better.
That sounds good. All right. Second question. Your second ask that you just got done explaining, why is that needed?
Because the state cut our earmark in half unexpectedly. So instead of getting the 45,000 that Marcus Vaughn earmarked, or we got from the state, it was cut in half to 22.5, which now leaves us short on the final project. The overall project, we had approved 190,000, but 45 of that was supposed to be state earmark. So we have 145 sitting ready to pay out, to pay, and then we're short the remaining. Well, we were supposed to get 45, we got 22.5, so now we're short 18,000.
So do we have an explanation from the folks that chased that money as to why it was shorted?
Because the governor said so.
Wasn't just us, it was multiple times.
Yeah, it wasn't just us, it was a ton of towns. Like there were towns that got hit way harder than us. Like my colleague in Easton, they had $500,000 earmark approved and it got cut to 250. So he's trying to figure out how to fund. It was earmarked to support a grant for a new truck they're getting, and they have to come up with $250,000 of it on their own now. This happened like pretty much every single earmark the state had. When you read the memo from the governor's office, every single one was cut by 50%. It wasn't just us; it's every earmark throughout the state.
So
Is there any?
just to finish the thought, right? So the people who were chasing this grant in the first place have said, all right, well, you just have to accept that there's 50%, or are they chasing the remaining money in some way?
No, they just basically told us this is happening and you have to be happy with it. Doesn't matter if you have it committed or a project already approved.
So it's earmarked in the budget process. Our state representative Marcus Vaughn got for us. We requested it.
Okay,
The difference between the actual cost of the repeater was versus what we would pay. And ultimately got $45,000 approved through the state. Obviously, governor said, I'm going to cut everything in half. And that's the memo we got after we are moved forward with this project.
I mean, I agree with the chief. Ultimately, the taxpayers are going to pay it one way or another.
Right.
Especially if the BDA is going to end up being a wash with this. I don't see a reason we can't carry it.
Well, yeah, especially if the BDA is coming off, probably fitting in the FF&E budget anyway.
Yeah.
But is there any chance we get some additional funding from,
Yes, that's why I said it's not a rush. It's not like I'm going to turn this in and be like, oh, we're going to take it out of this tomorrow. I'm going to continue exploring with. I spoke with Marcus Vaughn yesterday, and Caitlin and Justin are actively involved in trying to get support from the state, which that might be something we can explore too.
Sure.
So I'm not saying we're turning a page on it. But I would have to have your approval regardless. So I know Allcom's going to be begging for you know, their payment at some point, but you know, whether that's not like tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like, I think we have, you know, I think we may have time, but I just wanted to have, I wanted to be able to tell their CEO that like, hey, look, they understand what happened, but at the same time, you know, hey, we're exploring and we have a means to make this whole. So, but I just wanted to figure out a path.
I mean, yeah, I mean, my opinion is if there's no other means to do it, the project certainly seems to have the FF&E budget to cover it. So that would be my opinion. I don't know if anybody else has a different thought on that, but if we don't have to officially vote on it tonight, I think we know we have that to fall back on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather us cover it at some point instead of causing additional fees to make it cost even more.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Do
I
do we
can
have it in the
carry
budget? The,
Yeah.
the numbers
I can carry-
presented tonight say something different, don't they?
Well, some of those were just for pricing, and then it was the BDA coming off that amount. Steve, you said you had a BDA amount.
It wasn't
No,
included.
I
Yeah,
have
it's not
to-
included yet.
I have
The
a
credit hasn't been included yet.
Yeah, the credit hasn't been included in the FF&E budget yet, right?
Yeah, well, no, it's the BDA is under construction, under the construction budget.
Oh,
So,
got it.
and I haven't applied it yet. What we've been trying to get the electrician to do, because part of what he owns is doing a pretest throughout the building, even though the chief has already gone through it. That they bring in a third party to do that test. We were wanting to have that piece of paper in the file saying the building doesn't need it, and then implement that credit. So really, I mean, if we do credit out the BDA, we'll be able to cover both the first net and this shortfall on the repeater project.
But it technically comes out of construction contingency, not the FF&E.
Right? It's all one project budget when you get down.
Sure, yeah.
So to that 600 number, there's not 40,000 put back in. So that 60 something number, 6 something number is already potentially $40,000 more.
Correct.
What he showed based off of, because, you know, I'm going to go with the people doing the BDA because there's no way that you need one. And if they, you know, they typically how they do these things, they'll find one little corner where there's one crack and like, oh, you got to have it. And I'm like, no, we don't. I'm not going to, because ultimately I can sign off that we don't need it.
Sure.
But I agree with Steve, like to have the third party do the test, have the piece of paper is kind of important. You know, and I'll just walk with them while they do it and be like, no, you're not right. Because I've already done it. And the reality is I did it with no radios in the building. We're going to have 4 radios. Actually, if we get the first negative, we'll have 8 radios in the building that will be receiving and transmitting. So there's no way that we'll need a BDA. There's no possible way.
So it should work out money wise quite well.
I would make the recommendation that we go ahead and approve the payment of that now. With the provision caveat that any earmarks and or grants that are associated with it that are paid later on.
Okay. So ask for a motion to approve the use of project funds for the repeater system. And if any earmarks are later obtained to pay for it, that would come back into the project budget. That sound right?
Yep. And that's the man that can do it. So that's perfect.
Can I ask for a motion for that? So I don't have to repeat it again.
So moved.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Aaron Hunt,
Nay.
Chief Kinney,
Yes.
Justin Yanosik,
Yes.
Chris Baker, Yes. Lindmark, Kevin Champagne, yes. All right. Passes not unanimously. I will, does anybody else have anything else?
We have one, right?
No, hey, I got the Celtics coming. I gotta go.
Couldn't
watch
help
them.
30-minute meeting, had to be at least.
Yeah, we were close.
All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, we didn't have to beg on that one.
No, you're done.
Aye.
Steve Kinney,
Aye.
Senior Nosek,
Yes.
Chris Baker.
Yes.
Todd Winmark.
Yes.
Kevin Champagne, yes. All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.